Hello everyone, welcome to another live session of the Entrepreneur's Corner with Accent Consult. So today we'll be talking about surviving inflation as a startup in Nigeria. Surviving inflation as a startup in Nigeria. Now we all know that prices are rising, supply chains are still shaky, and customers are watching their pennies closely as their lifestyles get more costly. So how can startups and small businesses prepare to weather these inflation times? Now before we proceed, I would like to define what inflation is. Economically speaking, inflation is the general increase in the price of goods and services and the fall in the purchasing value of money. Inflation can be caused by an increase in the demand of goods and services with a decrease in the supply or the lack of increase in the supply of these particular goods and services, and as a result of this there is a drastic hike in the price of products and services because there is a limited availability of goods and services, but there's an increased need for these services and products because people are increasing but these goods and services are not increasing. Now, as a startup or a small business owner, what are the measures you can put in place to thrive despite this harsh economic situation? The first thing we'll be talking about today is understand your supply chain. Yes, understand your supply chain. First and foremost, you need to be aware of your whole value chain and its vulnerability to supply chain disruptions. Anything can happen. You should not put all your eggs in one basket. So you should have alternative supply, alternative supply options basically. And to put it another way, you need to learn about your immediate supplier as well as the supplier behind your supplier and so on. And so when there's a disruption, you know the next step to take. At each stage, you need to assess the danger of an interruption and create alternative sources of supply and maintain adequate inventory. Now, the next thing we'll be talking about today is you need to reorganize your debt and borrow wisely. Yes, as a business owner, you might need to take loans and overdrafts, but in a situation where the inflation is rising and it has no hope of going down, then you need to be wise about how you structure your capital, basically how you structure your capital and then your borrowing and debt repayment. So under this, you need to understand your capital structure, including the percentage of equity, preferred stock, bank loans, short-term credit, supplier credit, and convertible debt that you have. You also need to determine which ones must be repaid and when, which ones are affected by good interest rates and which ones are not, and which ones can put your company at risk if you default. Also, you need to employ new financial strategies that fit into the new economic situation, or maybe not new, but the current economic situation that you find yourself in. The third thing we'll be talking about today is you need to pay attention to international policies on trade. Maybe if you are a business owner that imports and exports, then you know that international policies affect you as a business owner because you do not trade locally. So you need to pay close attention to global changes, realignment of country alliances, and shifts in international supplier policies. You also need to keep an eye on regulations and law that may affect you as a business owner, because some of these regulations, some of them might be beneficial to you and some of them might be detrimental to you. So you need to speak to professionals that are well abreast with these regulations for them to guide you properly on how you can explore the provisions of these regulations to suit your business. Then and the fourth thing we'll be talking about today is you need to keep your employees happy by maintaining a strong morale. Yes, we know that things are getting costly. It's hard to maintain a business. It's hard to keep up when you have to pay employees salaries. Some people even want to go by the rule of laying off more employees or reducing pays and all of that. However, you must understand that employee retention is part of your inflation survival strategy. If you start losing workers, you expend more on advertising, on training, on onboarding, on hiring new employees, and much more. The know-how your previous employees already know how the system works. They already know how your company works, and some of them have even, pledged some form of loyalty to you. And so you need to keep their morale high. You need to encourage them. You need to be able to communicate with them and know how the inflation is affecting them adversely. If you need to infuse new strategies into your company, maybe for instance remote working to reduce the cost of transportation for them, especially where you are not increasing their salaries, you can also bring in the hybrid structure where maybe they are only required to come in twice a week, and then the rest of the week they work at home, just to cut down that cost. So you need to know how to motivate them to keep working. Also, you want to ask them how you can ameliorate the effect of the inflation on them. Maybe a little incentive here or there, just something to show them that you care about how the inflation affects them. Because if you do not do this, you would lose employees. You would have employees resign, and look for better jobs, and that would just leave your business open to basically suffering. Yeah, the fifth thing we'll be talking about today is you need to re-strategize. Yes. So now the luxury of exploring unprofitable ideas is no longer available, because your short-term survival takes priority or takes precedence over long-term growth. Yes, long-term growth is still very important, but you need to survive. If there's going to be any long-term for you, there needs to be a short-term survival first. And so you need to rationalize your operations, your customers, your businesses, your brand segments, your suppliers, your manufacturing facilities and product lines. You need to return to the drawing board and strategize. Yes, you need to identify your core competencies and concentrate on those to deliver the best returns for finite resources while holding the most potential for the future. So in this, I'm just trying to say that you need to go back and look at where you're making profit the most. What's your best selling product? What can you do to generate more profit? Because things are getting higher. You're going to be paying more for supplies you're taking, and you need to generate more because your revenue must increase if you're going to increase your purchasing power too. And so you cannot, in as much as you want to expand and delve into other things, you need to focus on your core competencies so that there will be room for you to bring in more things in the future. The sixth thing we'll be talking about today is leverage on technology. Now, leveraging on technology and automation are proven to be useful during times of crisis in general, not just when there is inflation. And a research carried out by Harvard Business Review found out that businesses that invested in artificial intelligence and automation just before the pandemic weathered 2020 and 2021 better than those that did not. What am I trying to say here? Imagine if you had no form of technological knowledge or know-how, or your employees had no form of technological know-how and they had to work remotely. I mean, still when remote working became the order of the day, how would you have weathered that time? And so there's just a need. It's like a necessity for you as a business owner to prioritize leveraging on technology. Now, some of the ways you can leverage on technology are workflow automation, real-time data analysis, cyber security, because everybody now is in the digital world, everybody is in the metaverse, and that puts your business online at risk because there are a lot of people trying to commit cyber crimes because more people are on the internet lately. And so you need to be more cyber security conscious. You can also look into project management and tracking KPIs. Now, for insights on how you can leverage on these technological tools, you can see our article on how to leverage technology for your business. The seventh thing I'll be talking about today is investing in assets. And for me, I believe this is about not the most important, but one of the most important things you can take away from this session today as a business owner. Now, investing in assets is a wise way for you to survive inflation. How, if you ask me? Imagine if you get a real property, maybe a land or a property, let's just say a land, and then eventually when you want to, there's no how that land will not increase in profit. There's no way to not accrue profit for you or generate profit for you. And eventually when you want to sell it, let's say for instance you bought it 500,000, you know, you would be selling it nothing less than 2 million even a few months down the line. So imagine if you use that as a form of investment for your business, such that when you need funds for your business, you can just sell the property and divert, you know, that fund so generated into your business. That way you would thrive regardless of the situation of inflation in the economy. So conclusively, inflationary pressures and supply chain difficulties are real and they are here to stay. And there's no way around it except you try to adapt to it. So what does not kill you ought to make you stronger. And so as a business owner, you should seek to adapt, you know, and take on measures that will allow you to still survive this inflation and still come out as a thriving business even in these inflation times. Thank you so much for joining us. Till next time. Bye.